Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out of Chess channel and welcome to an amazing game from the Julius Baer Generation Cup in 2024 that you can follow now on chess.com. In the quarterfinal stage we had an amazing game between Alireza Firouzja and Vladimir Fedoseev. In this event where you play with your mouse in this online event, I think Alireza Firouzja is always the top favorite in any, I don't know, blitz, rapid, bullet chess. Alireza is always there somewhere in the semifinals, maybe in the finals. Vladimir Fedoseev, on the other hand, I think had a great tournament also in the Chess Olympiad in 2024, where he played on the first board and managed to win a game with the black pieces against Magnus Carlsen. So Vladimir Fedoseev, of course, also a top GM, really respected player. Let's see now what happened, and then of course in the next couple of days we're going to cover then the semifinals but also the finals of the Julius Baer Generations Cup in 2024. So let's see now one game. The tempo of this event is 10 minutes on the clock plus 2 seconds increment per move, and in one game Alireza Firouzja opened with the move d4. Fedoseev's response was d5. We have c4, the Queen's Gambit declines Slav defense, knight to f3, knight to f6, and now after knight to c3, the 3 knights variation, we have reached now the semi-Slav defense. Now bishop to g5, knight from b to d7, and now after move e3, we have now the amazing Cambridge Springs defense with queen to a5. I myself like to play the Cambridge Springs defense now many times against d4. In my opinion, it's one of the best approaches that you can play. Of course, with an immediate idea to play knight to e4 and put more pressure against the knight on c3, then you have to also opportunities to play something like bishop to b4. I think if you don't want to study too much theory, the Cambridge Springs defense is perfectly fine. So here c takes d5, and after knight to d5, we have now the so-called Yugoslav variation of the Cambridge Springs defense, where immediately here Fedoseev puts more pressure against the knight on c3 by Alireza Firouzja. We have now queen to d2, the best move I would say by Alireza here, and now as promised Fedoseev continues now the pressure with bishop to b4, rook to c1, h6, we have bishop to h4, still the standard line, and now Fedoseev plays a line that I myself don't like to play. I'm not saying it's wrong or something, it's not a mistake that Vladimir Fedoseev is doing here, but I don't know if I would have played now the game with the black piece, I would simply not know where to proceed, how to make any progress, because what Fedoseev did here, he played now kingside castling, and he forces now immediately a reaction. Here Alireza forces immediately reaction by Fedoseev with the move a3, and you have to now give up your Darsko bishop here, and that's what I don't like about this line that Fedoseev is playing. As I said, not a mistake, not an inaccuracy, but you have to be really familiar with this positions now in the next couple of moves. And after b takes c3, you see you could maybe take out now the pawn on a3, but now it gets very dangerous. You have to step back, then bishop to d3. White continues now the game with a great development. Look at this, white has still the bishop pair on the board, will eventually play e5, will attack maybe even the king side. So it's, I think, very tough then to play this position from black's perspective. So let's go back to this moment. Instead of this move kingside castling, for instance, what I like as an approach is immediately to play knight takes c3, then after b takes c3, you keep still your bishop on the board, then after something like bishop to a3, the rook has to step back, and now you castle, and at least you keep your bishop on the board. Then after something like bishop to d3, you can play c5, and I think you have a solid game. Even with the move b5, you have attacking chances, but in this scenario, in this line, at least you're keeping, as I said, your bishop pair with the black pieces still on the board. But okay, as we said, kingside castling here, a3 by Alireza Firouzja, bishop takes c3, and now b takes c3. Fedoseev retreats, bishop to d3. Here Fedoseev doesn't want to even take out the pawn on a3, which would be basically a loss of a tempo. Now Fedoseev has to develop, first of all, his pieces in a fast way. b6 with the preparation to play bishop to a6. I would say this idea to play bishop to a6 is a standard idea of the Cambridge Springs defense for black, where you're trying to give up your bad light square bishop, which is really neutralized so far by your own pawns. You're trying to give up a bad piece for your opponent's best minor piece on the board, because of course white's light square bishop is crossing all over the board. It has of course the best activity here, so that's why b6 is, I think, good strategic concept here by black. We have now e4 by Alireza. Now comes this idea, bishop to a6, and now c4, which is, I think, also good move that Alireza is playing. It becomes now a more simplified game now for both sides. After king to d2, of course, with a slightly better position for white, because white still has the bishop pair on the board. But now Fedoseev shows his plan. He's trying now rook to e8, and he's trying to break and enter with the move e5, or if the position allows it, also with the move c5, because you should, of course, break the pawn chain in the middle of the pawn chain. So you're trying to do something around the square d4. You're not allowing, of course, these pawns to be mobile. And Alireza continues now with an e5, and here I think Fedoseev makes now his first tiny little inaccuracy in the game. Here Fedoseev plays knight to h5. Seems tempting. You will eventually get your knight on f4. From that square you have, of course, great attacking chances. But the issue is that you should actually protect somehow your e6 square. You see now why is it important to keep your knight connected to the e6 square. For instance, what Fedoseev should have done probably is better here for black is knight to h7, and then in a line like bishop to e4 you of course protect your pawn, and then after rook to e1 you're trying to play now knight to f8. Now you have a great grip around the square e6. And now, for instance, if white continues with g4, you will eventually play c5, and then after something like this still you can play b5. And if in any case here maybe white takes out now the pawn on e6, still you have this resource, and you would have a compact position with both of your knights. You would have opportunities maybe to jump here, but I think already white has to face now many problems on the queen side, and I think black could have here a solid game. Of course, white would probably not take out the pawn, would eventually pass through, but even in this line I think black is solid. Black created a blockade, not allowing these pawns to roll here in the center of the board, and I think again a solid position. But after knight to h5 you see now the issue. Here Alireza continues with bishop to e4 with the same plan, rook to c8, g4. Now you have to step back. Alireza continues the pressure, knight to g6, rook to e1, again with the same plan. And now after move c5, the issue is now after move d5 here that Alireza played, you cannot play now this idea knight to f8 anymore. You would love to do that, but now you see a4 is going to happen, and you don't have any more. You lost a very important tempo, I would say, and now you don't have anymore the b5 plan to let this position explode on the queen side. So now with a4 black is neutralized, black is paralyzed on this side of the board, and white has now again a dominant position still in the center of the board. White is waiting, but in this scenario you see black doesn't have counterplay at all. White is now much better. Black is neutralized through the whole game. And after move d5, that's why Fedoseev took simply e takes d5, but now Alireza connects very important two pawns in the center of the board. And now the issue for black is that you cannot take. You would love to, of course, take one of these dangerous pawns, but in this tactical sequence you're losing the exchange, and of course the game, I think, game over in this line here for black for sure. So that's why here after c takes d5, that's why rook to d8, keeping of course some tensions here on the d file. The king is endangered. Alireza gets out of this tactical mess on the d file. We have bishop to b7 and now a4. Again, Alireza is not allowing here any counter play on the queen side here by black. So white is now the dominant position in the center and is waiting here something to happen on this side of the board. We have now knight from d to f8. Maybe a slightly better way is to proceed than with king to f8, going finally, I don't know, towards the center of the board. But after knight to f8 here, Fedoseev is trying to connect now this knight. He's maybe scared of this move bishop takes g6, so he wants to again recapture the knight again with his knight on g6. So here we have rook to d1. Here Vladimir Fedoseev attacked the pawn, and now Alireza simply protects it. We have now knight to e7, d6, bishop to e4, rook to e4. You see now here Alireza Firouzja has a great activity now with his pieces. He has really a dominant position, and rook to e4 is, I think, a beautiful move, because many of us would play something like d takes e7. Seems tempting because you could maybe run into this sequence and you think that you're maybe winning some material, and after rook to e4 it seems so that maybe white should be much better because of the two minor pieces against the rook. Actually, I think what's really great, Alireza recognized this tactical sequence, and here Alireza recognized that this position would not be good for him, because here still black is this dangerous 3 versus 1 situation on this side of the board. In one moment, I think black could connect even 2 passers on the queen side, and then it's not such a great game, of course, here for black. So that's for white, pardon me. After bishop to e4, that's why rook takes e4. Alireza keeps it calm, plays now knight to h4, improves now the position of the piece, and now simply f4, letting the pawns roll now here in the center of the board. What should you do? If you try something like king to f5, then knight to king to f7, then knight to f5 is going to happen. You can maybe play rook to d7, but now again after move h4, white should be much better. White is waiting here, will eventually also include the king into the attack when the king comes on d5. Again, I think a very dangerous position here for black. So after move f4, f takes e5 by Fedoseev, we have f takes e5, rook to e6, and now great moves here by Alireza. He's using now his king in the attack, which is really great. The king is really not endangered here. Usually you should of course not try to expose your own king, but now after king to c4, Alireza gets now all of the pieces into the attack and has now, I would say, completely winning position here, because black is paralyzed, black is neutralized, doesn't have any good score. So here we have rook to e8, Alireza plays knight to f5. What should you do? If you take here on e5, then the issue is this pawn is rolling and you have to now give up simply the knight for a pawn, and then the rook is coming on the 7th rank. I would say again, completely winning position for white. After knight to f5, that's why knight to d7. Alireza connects now everything here around the square e5. We have now a6 by the Fedoseev, and now king to d5. Beautiful square for the king. Now the king is included into the attack. We have knight to b4, and now another great follow-up by Alireza Firouzja. Alireza sacks the exchange here. Rook takes b4, c takes b4, and now knight to d4, simply forcing now the reaction by the rook. Rook to g6, Alireza pushes now the pawn further, knight to f6, and now king to c6. Really great stuff. 2 connected passers here are rolling. Really game over here for black. Rook takes g4, and now, believe me or not, Alireza Firouzja makes now a huge mistake in the game. He plays now the move d7, and he allows here even Fedoseev to get back into the game, which even in this scenario white is much better. But I think crucial mistake here almost here by Alireza. Bishop to e5 was the easy, I would say, here winning idea, but here Alireza was already low on clock, so that's why he missed this idea. After rook to e6, you can just trade off everything, and then you go into something like this. Nothing can happen. Again, white would have a minor piece up, and it's of course game over again here for black. But after d7, here what Fedoseev should have simply done is rook takes d4. But still, as I said, white is slightly better because of this passer on the e file, and now even after king takes b6. But okay, maybe in this scenario black can hold the position at least for a while. Very complicated, I would say, still endgame now for both sides. But after move d7 that Alireza played, Fedoseev played rook to d8, huge mistake, and now finally Alireza played the correct move, bishop to e5. Now it's not working here. Alireza goes towards the rook, and after a couple more moves here and king to d6, in this position Vladimir Fedoseev resigned. So with this win, Alireza secured also the win in the match against Vladimir Fedoseev. Alireza moved up now to the semifinals. In the semifinals also Magnus Carlsen is playing here. Alireza and Magnus are not playing already, but again I think we are waiting for him. Again, incredible match between Alireza and Magnus Carlsen. We'll see what will happen. Levon Aronan is also in the semifinals, so we'll have again great games in the Julius Baer Generation Cup in 2024. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. I think we have seen here really great ideas of the Cambridge Springs defense now for both sides. If you want to see some other games that we have analyzed here on my YouTube chess channel, and also if you want to study deeper the Cambridge Springs defense, check out here my 2 playlists. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.